But because I had been working for a set number of time and I had been paying tax, I was actually qualified to get. Hello and welcome to Menvic Studio. My name is Angole Ibesuku. In today's video, I'll be discussing all about bringing in dependents on the skilled workers visa, formerly known as Tier 2 visa. I'll also be talking about what you can and cannot do on this visa. If you like the contents of my channel, do consider subscribing, comment, like, and share my videos with anyone who you think might find them interesting. Everything I'll be discussing in today's video is based on my carrying out some research on the topic, as well as from my own personal experience, and does not constitute a legal immigration advice, as I am not a professional in this field. I'll also leave a link to the UK government's website where you can go and read up further on the information on bringing in dependents, and I suggest you carry out your own thorough research before embarking on this journey. So a dependent can fall under any of these three categories: a husband or wife, civil partner or married partner, a child under 18 years of age, your child above the age of 18 if they're already in the UK as your dependent under another type of visa. So other relatives like your parents and siblings do not qualify as your dependent under this visa. One other important thing to mention is that the dependent visa would expire exactly at the same time as the main applicant's visa, and the main applicant being the person who has the certificate of sponsorship. So for example, if you have spent 1 year out of a 3 years skilled workers visa at the point when you apply for your dependents, your dependent would only get the remaining 2 years on your skilled workers visa. I hope that makes sense. To bring in any dependent, you would have to prove your relationship between you and that dependent. So for example, if you're bringing in a spouse who is married to you, then you would need to present your marriage certificate. But from my experience, do seriously think of the proofs you can present. If you've got any joint bill and joint stuffs, do think seriously of the proofs you can present beyond your marriage certificate. Then if you're bringing in a child as a dependent, then you need to show their birth certificate, and where necessary, also show that both parents are okay with the child going to live with the main applicant, or that you are solely responsible for looking after the child. This is especially important if both parents are no longer together or if one of the parents is deceased. And if you're bringing in a child who is over the age of 16, you must show that the child lives with you and would be living with you when they move over to be your dependent. The only acceptable circumstances where they may not live with you is if they are away at a boarding school or university or college, and they must be attending full-time when they are your dependent. They must also not be married or in a civil partnership, and they must also not have any children. And they will have to be financially supported by you, who is the main applicant. So the acceptable documents to show that your child who is over the age of 16 lives with you include their bank statement or credit card or driving license, or an official letter from their university or college. The visa also comes with a requirement to show that you are able to support the dependents you'll be bringing in, and this amount is £285 for a spouse, £315 for one child, and £200 for each additional child. You will need to have this money available in your account at least 28 days prior to you applying, and you have to present proof to show that the money has been in your account all this while. So the way we did it at the time when we were still applying was to have the amount of money we need in my husband's account because he was the main applicant, and then prior to applying we'll print out the bank statement and then highlight the required period as well as key dates. Alternatively, some people might be fortunate enough to have their company absorb this required proof of funds, but in this case this must be clearly stated in your certificate of sponsorship, and you present this at the time you're applying. It's also important to mention that this amount that is required as proof of funds is really just the living expenses for 1 month. The main applicant can apply on behalf of the dependents, or the dependents can apply themselves as a spouse or as a child at the UK government's website, and each family member needs to complete a separate application. When applying, you will need the main applicant's unique application number, otherwise known as Global Web 4 GWF, or simply known as Unique Application Number UAN. Once they've applied online, they will be told the next steps to follow, including steps to get their fingerprint taken as well as get their photo taken. They may be able to do this at a visa application center or use the UK Visa and Immigration ID Check app. Once the application has been made online, the supporting documents has been submitted, biometrics taken, photographs taken, they should normally get a decision within 3 weeks. So you've probably heard a number of people in the UK talk about how they're able to access council housing or subsidized housing, access to child support, and basically other free and subsidized stuffs from the UK government. Holders of the skilled workers visa and their dependents are however not eligible for any of these free and subsidized stuffs, which the UK government provides to its citizens using public funds, aka taxpayers' money. So when you finally get your visa, you would see no recourse to public funds clearly written on the visa. I remember some years back we were so paranoid about making sure we never access public funds that at the point where I was to go on maternity leave, because we had just moved and I didn't qualify for the occupational maternity pay which the employer would pay to pregnant women. Anyway, I didn't qualify for that, but because I had been working for a set number of time and I had been paying tax, I was actually qualified to get the maternity allowance. But at the time, because I was paranoid to make sure I never accessed the funds which I wasn't meant to, I didn't really want to claim this. So I had to make an appointment to go into my local council office and then spoke to someone to make sure that I was really entitled to claim the maternity allowance. But I think it's important to err on the side of caution, and when in doubt, ask and ask again. And if you're still in doubt, do not accept any of the freebies, because when it comes to time for you to renew your visa or apply for indefinite leave to remain, that would definitely flag up and ruin things for you. Primary and secondary school education is free to all children irrespective of their immigration status, so at least you don't have to be scared of accepting that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.